Break the board sports. The NBA season is upon us. Last night, we hit all of our props we gave out as far as player props. Also, the Rockets would have came in if you took the spread. Thunder came in on the money line. Barely. Boy, had to sweat that one. The only thing that we missed last night is I did say, if you wanted to play the Lakers-Warriors game, I thought it was a toss-up, but I would lean buying some extra points with the Lakers in a parlay. Other than that, everything hit. Lucas point total that we gave out, alt point total hit. Durant, Sengun's rebounds. So we hit the parlay. We hit the Rockets parlay, and we hit the Thunder and the Moneyline parlay. So good stuff there. Click that like, hit subscribe. Huge slate today. Let's hop right into it as we go down through each and every game. Again, we do this show for every sport, giving you information to help you become a better handicapper. Yes, I'll give you official plays. Yes, I'll give you leans, but this is more designed to help you in your own handicapping. So first one, Cleveland Cavaliers at the New York Knicks. Knicks with new coach Mike Brown after they fired Tom Thibodeau. A lot of weird stuff going on with the Knicks. Karl-Anthony Towns coming out saying he really doesn't know what his role is. There's been rumors they're going to trade for Giannis. Just a whole mix of stuff. Right now, 1.5 is the spread. Cavaliers laying 1.5. Over under 228.5. Now, 62% of bets on the Cavs, only equating to 47% of the money. 38% of bets equating for 53% of the money is on the New York Knicks. That over under 228.5. 65% of bets to the over. 35% of bets to the under. Couple of trends to hop into here. Obviously, Cleveland's ATS took a fall last year with the playoffs, and they just fell apart after having the best record in the East. 1-4 ATS their last 5, and 1-4 straight up their last 5. The Knicks, they finished 2-4 ATS and straight up. Now, head-to-head, the under is cashed 11 of the last 12 games between these two teams. Pretty awesome stat there. Also, head-to-head, the Cavs are 5-1 ATS against New York. I really like this Cavs team. I know how they fell apart down the stretch last year, but I think you get a bounce back. The under has cashed 6 of the last 8 games that the New York Knicks have played at home. When you look back to last year's head-to-head with this, again, the Cavs won 4 straight, and they won all 4 meetings last year. They're 108, 102, 124, 105, 142, 105, 110, 104. And to be honest with you, I'm going to keep riding that train. Cavaliers are an official play on the money line, minus $1.25 tonight. I just think they're the much better team. Knicks, you got a new head coach, though. I like Mike Brown. Not really the hire I would have went for. I think Thibodeau did a good job. But now this New York Knicks team, the hardest thing to do is the bounce back, right? It's kind of like the Super Bowl loser. Knicks losing that to the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Cavs, they went out earlier. They had some time to stew. I think this Cavaliers team is going to be really, really formidable. So Cavs minus $1.25 is going to be the way to go for me. Brooklyn Nets at the Charlotte Hornets. If you watched our futures show, if not, check that out. Click a like, get subscribe there. Hornets laying 4.5. You're over under 226.5. I love this Hornets team to make the playoffs if they can stay healthy. Ball, Bridges, bring in Con Knipple and Zion James, and you got Miller there. A lot of pieces for the Hornets to work with. Laying 4.5 to Brooklyn. Now, 60% of bets, 81% of the money going to the over 226.5. 40% of bets, 19% of the money going to the under 226.5. Like I said, that spread's ballooned up to 4.5 with 47% of bets, 79% of the handle going to the Charlotte Hornets, 53% of bets, 21% of the handle going to the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn 1-5 ATS their last 6, including 1-5 straight up their last 6. Charlotte, they've lost 7 straight games, and they're 0-5 their last 5 ATS at home. Just 2-11 against the spread is Charlotte over their last 13. They've been horrible. But again, I like the spot. And even as horrible as Charlotte was last year, decimated by injuries and whatnot, they were still 4-2 ATS. Their last 6 games in which they faced the Brooklyn Nets, if you look back to last year between the two teams, Brooklyn's taken 7 out of the last 10. But the very last meeting on March 8th was a 105-102 win for the Hornets, snapping a 3-game losing streak. to the Brooklyn Nets in that one. This Hornets team, I think it's going to play fast. I think this offense is going to be really, really hard to stop. Straight up, the last 10 games is a home favorite. The Hornets are 6-4 straight up, but only 2-8 ATS during that time frame. Straight up, Nets on the road, 3-7 straight up. Their last 10 as a road dog, but 8-2 ATS as a road dog there. So I'm not really interested in laying 4.5 with the Nets, or with the Hornets rather. I don't really want to take it with the Nets, but I do want to hold on to that Charlotte Hornets minus $1.85. Not going to play it straight. Way too much juice on that, but I am looking at, hey, later on the show, we're definitely going to parlay the Hornets because I like the Hornets early and often here. Miami Heat catching 8.5 at the Orlando Magic. You're over under 214.5. 68% of bets, 65% have they handled to the over. 32% of bets, 35% of the handle to the under 214.5. Now, as far as the spread, the tickets and the money don't match up. 64% of tickets equating to 33% of the handle for the Heat. Tells me that leans probably more public, and the pros are probably more the 36 ticket count, 67% handle when you look at it. When you dive in, Miami 13-7 ATS their last 20 games, but just 1-4 straight up their last 5. Orlando's 1-4 straight up their last 5 as well. But Orlando is 4-1 ATS their last 5 home games. But Miami head-to-head here with the Orlando Magic, 6-3 against the spread is Miami when they have to match up against Orlando. Last year's matchups between these two teams, Miami 125-119 took the last one, 89-88 took that one. And then the first two went to the Magic, 7 points and then a 19-point game. Other than that 19-point game to start off the beginning of the season, the Miami Heat kept this close. Now, look, I know Tyler Hero, he is out, but I still think there's enough there with Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo, right? The Heat have made a couple moves to bring people over. I just look at this, and I think the Heat are going to be able to keep it close. Look, I know Orlando is good. I know they're a team that a lot of people are picking to go really, really deep, and I respect all that. But I just think anytime you get Eric Spoelstra getting 8.5, 9, it's a good look. Now, again, that's just a lean. What I will say, a lot of the NBA is different from anything I handicap. One, I think the NBA is a bad product from a pre-flop betting thing, right? Like you don't know who's in or who's out sometimes till right before tip-off. You can't really adjust. So player props, which I don't play a lot of player props except for the NBA. That's really the only place I look at. And then in-game betting, and then halftimes. Halftimes is such a good place to make money in the NBA. Value to the original number. So if a team's catching 7 and they're down 23 at the half and they're only laying 2.5, you're really getting 14 points of value to the original number. That's what I look at. That's where I've been able to have a lot of success over the last 12 years. The last 10 games, the Heat have lost 10 in a row, and they're just 1-9 ATS in that stretch. Again, I think the offseason ended the season horribly. They're 7-2-1 to the over their last 10 games. Orlando 7-3 to the over, including 6 straight overs for them in their last 10. And then Orlando 6-4 straight up their last 10 and 6-3-1 ATS in that time. They've won 6 straight at home. Again, as a home favorite, though, 4-5-1 ATS is the Orlando Magic. So, again, pre-flop, if I had to do something, I would lean Heat. But I'm more interested in looking into some player props for this game. Toronto Raptors at the Atlanta Hawks in this one. Hawks laying 5.5. Your over-under is 236.5. Now, 68% of bets, 61% of the handles on the visiting Toronto Raptors. 32% of bets, 39% of handle on the Atlanta Hawks. Right now, the ticket count, 50-50 split on the 236.5. But 72% of the handles on the over and 28% of the handles on the under, despite the 50-50 split there. Nothing that I have on this game yet. Toronto 2-5 ATS their last 7 and 2-5 straight up within that same time frame. The over is cashed 5 of the last 7 games that the Atlanta Hawks have participated in, and it's cashed 6 of their last 7 at home. More importantly, head-to-head. Head-to-head, 13 of the last 20 games have went over the total between these two teams. Toronto, 4-1 against the spread the last 5 against Atlanta, and more importantly, they're 5-0 ATS the last 5 games in Atlanta. Now, look, I know there's a lot of excitement about Kristaps Porzingis joining forces with Trae Young and whatnot, but again, I don't have anything pre-flop. If I did, there's a couple 6s starting to present themselves. I would take the Toronto Raptors +6. That would definitely be my lean. I'm not a Hawks fan now. I do like head coach Schneider, but I'm not a Trae Young fan. I just don't see the value there. A very erratic shooter, can get hot, drop a lot of shots. And then Porzingis, being a Celtics fan, Porzingis is just, I mean, you don't know whether he's in, whether he's out. He'll play a couple minutes. He'll go out a couple minutes. So just kind of all over the place for that guy. Not somebody I want to hitch my wagon to. Now, in a 7-game series, absolutely. Love to have him. But just couldn't stay healthy for the Celtics. I don't see how he's going to stay healthy for Atlanta. But again, pre-flop, another visiting dog would be my lean. Right now, the only thing in pocket, though, that we've hit on so far is the Cavs -$1.25. Next game on the board, the 76ers visit my Celtics in a huge rivalry. Celtics laying 3.5. You're over under 229.5. Now, 62% of bets, 53% of the handle to the over. 38% of bets, 47% of the handle to the under. As far as spread goes, 64% of tickets, 77% of the money going to the Boston Celtics. When you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, they're getting 36% of bets, 23% of the handle here. Diving into some trends, Philly 1-14 straight up their last 15. Boston 2-4 ATS and straight up their last 6. Philly just ended the season horrifically. Not only were they 1-14 straight up their last 15, they were 3-12 ATS in that same time frame. And Boston, they haven't been very good at all. 7-13 ATS is the Philadelphia 76ers over their last 20 contests against the Boston Celtics. Celtics 8-2 straight up their last 10 at home. For me, when I look at this, again, Boston, they're retooling a lot of things, right? A lot of players out. Tatum's still out. I still like them here, though. Minus $1.30 to get across the finish line. That's actually ballooned up now to $1.52 this morning. I still like it. I would put that in a parlay with the Hornets money line. Do a little Celtics Hornets money line parlay. Straight up the last 10 at home, we talked about 8-2 for the Celtics. As a home favorite, 8-2 straight up, but 5-5 ATS. Straight up as a road dog, 76ers 1-9 straight up, 2-8 ATS. They've lost 7 straight covers, have the 76ers there. Again, not something I really want to hop into from a spread perspective. I'll take the $1.52. And again, we'll just go real time. Let's use FanDuel. So right now we got the Charlotte Hornets. They've moved up to $2. And actually at FanDuel, the Celtics have moved up to $1.62. So definitely want to shop around. But if you take Hornets Celtics money line parlay, put you plus $1.52. So we'll put that in pocket along with the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's actually down to 118 at FanDuel. It was 125 at DraftKings. So some good value you could get there. Next game on the board, Milwaukee Bucks laying 10.5. This one's continued to climb. The over-under 228.5 in this one. Now, 65% of tickets to the over, 35% of tickets to the under, 93% of the handle going to the over, 7% of the handle going to the under. Now, 76% of bets and 88% of the handle going to the Bucks. Everybody loves the Bucks. 24% of the tickets, 12% of the handle to the Whiz Kids there from Washington. Washington 5-11 against the spread their last 16. They ended the season last year 1-5 straight up their last 6. Milwaukee ended 1-4 straight up their last 5. However, Milwaukee 9-4 against the spread their last 13 games, with the over cashing 12 of the last 16. Washington has been very good ATS, though, when they've played Milwaukee, believe it or not. 4-1 ATS over the last 5 meetings, and head-to-head over the last 7. The total has went over 5 of the last 7 games. I can't lay double digits in the NBA. Again, some people can. That's fine. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying whether it's you, me, whoever, we need to have certain rules in our handicapping and not go outside of those, because as soon as you start going outside those and you're willing to bet anything, then it's very easy to become an action junkie. Again, just like life, discipline is everything, and more importantly, it's everything in handicapping. I'm going to use the Hornets in another money line parlay. Them and the Bucks minus $1.26. I'm going to go ahead and cash that puppy there in tonight. So far, 3 plays pending. Detroit Pistons laying 3.5 on the road. There's a couple 4s starting to present themselves out there. The over-under 234.5 as they visit the Bulls. Now, 54% of tickets to the over, 46% of tickets to the under. As far as the spread, it's a 50-50 split, but the money's not matching that at all. 73% of the money on the over, or on the Pistons, 27% of the money on the Bulls. Now, again, this is why it's important to shop around. As I'm looking across the board right now, this is going anywhere from 2.5, 3, 3.5 to 4. There's 4 different lines out there. Again, I say this and it gets more and more important in basketballs, both NBA and college hoops coming up. College hoops, one of my favorite sports to handicap, is you got to have multiple betting outlets because you got to get the best of the number. I can't stress that enough. Got to get the best of the number. A lot of people on the Pistons tonight, $1.45 at DraftKings, $1.62 on the money line at FanDuel. I would kind of lean that way, but the fact everybody's on Detroit, I know they're a hot team that everybody's talking about. That part scares me a little bit, so I just vowed to stay away. But again, a couple good player props you could for sure get into here. Memphis Grizzlies laying 4.5. You're over under 236.5 there. Now, Memphis, they're getting 44% of ticket count, 38% of the money, 56% of bets, and 62% of the money going to the New Orleans Pelicans. As far as that over-under, it's 236.5 now, 51% of bets to the under, 49% of bets to the over. So that equates to 67% of the money going to the over, 33% of the money going to the under in this one. When you dive in a little bit more to handicap here, New Orleans lost their last 7 games last year. Memphis 5-2 ATS their last 7, but 1-5 straight up their last 6. They've really struggled. The over has cashed for Memphis, though, 5 of the last 6 at home. But here's 2 trends for you. When these teams meet head-to-head, the under, when they play in Memphis head-to-head, the under's cashed 4 of the last 5. And Memphis has a 5-2 ATS advantage over the last 7 games between these 2 teams. Now, Memphis, just a program that's kind of went by the wayside. Same with New Orleans, high hopes, but kind of falling apart. Memphis has taken 7 of the last 10 matchups head-to-head, including all 4 last year. 120-109, 132-124, 139-126, and 107-104. So it would be very hard for me to want to step out there and grab the 4.5 again. A lot of heavy favorite I'm leaning to. That's why in-game's so important. You get a team get up 12, 13, 14, 15 points. Everybody, the NBA is a game of runs. Everybody makes multiple runs. So again, really, if you're dialed into that, you can make a lot of money there just betting the runs and betting in-game betting. Clippers at the Jazz. Clippers laying 10.5 on the road. The over-under 225.5. 65% of tickets being bet to the over. 35% of tickets being bet to the under. Now, 58% of bets going to the Clippers laying the 10.5, accounting for 70% of the handle. 42% of tickets going to the Jazz, equating for 30% of the handle. Look, I know everybody's really on this thing with James Harden and Kawhi Leonard and Bradley Beal, and it looks like a group standing in line for the tapioca pudding at the old folks' home, right? I'm not saying the Clippers don't have an abundance of talent. I'm just saying I don't trust them. Plus, you're on the road at Utah. I put a small half-unit play on the Utah Jazz plus 10.5 here. Just couldn't resist. You got a young, fast team, wants to play fast. You got some good talent there. Utah's a little bigger inside. I'm going to grab the Jazz here, plus 10 and the hook for a half-unit play. One of my favorite games of the night, Spurs at Mavs, may end up being the best game of the night here. If you're going to tune into one, that would be the one to tune into. Mavs laying 2.5. You're over under 226.5. 76% of tickets, 73% of the handle going to the Spurs or going to the over. 24% of tickets, 27% of the handle going to the under. Now, as far as that spread, 64% of tickets, 62% of the money are laying the 2.5 with the Mavs. 36% of tickets, 38% of the handle is deciding to take the San Antonio Spurs. You can get the Mavs minus 146 on the money line. Full disclosure, I put a single unit play there on the Mavericks. San Antonio 5-2 ATS their last 7, but over their last 12, they're just 3-9 straight up. Dallas, they finished 2-7 ATS their last 9. I know Kyrie's still out, but the Anthony Davis, Cooper Flag mix, what they got going on, I love. The total has gone over between these two teams, 11 of the last 14. But I think you'll see a more defensive game. Wemby and Anthony Davis, I'm really excited to see that. Now, head-to-head, San Antonio is just 2-6 against the spread the last 8 versus Dallas, and 1-7 in that time frame. That's what drew me to go ahead and grab the points with the or to grab the money line here with the Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks, 8 of the last 10, they've beaten the Spurs. So they've really owned them. Now, again, Spurs had a little bit of downtime there. Now they got Wemby. They're starting to kind of turn the corner and get kind of building things back since the Duncan crew left. But when I look at this, again, I just like Dallas's pieces. The last 10 games as a road favorite, they're 7-3 straight up. As a road dog, San Antonio 4-6 straight up, but they are 6-4 ATS as a road dog. Again, I just like the spot with Dallas. I feel you get really good value there at a short price. So I went ahead and grabbed Dallas minus $1.46 for a single unit play. We'll go over all of our plays here at the end. Click that like, hit subscribe. We got 2 more games on the board. Sacramento Kings visiting the Phoenix Suns. Suns laying 4.5. You're over under 229.5. 65% of tickets, 87% of the money going to the over. 35% of tickets, 13% of the handle going to the under. Now, as far as that spread breaks out, 63% going to the Sacramento Kings. That's equating to 55% of the handle. 37% of tickets going to the Suns, equating to 45% of the handle. I would lean Sacramento here plus the 4.5, getting the points. They're 5-10 straight up their last 15. But 2 things I love here is, or actually 3 things I love. Sacramento's 4-1 ATS their last 5, but head-to-head against Phoenix, they're 8-3 ATS the last 11 meetings, and they're 8-3 ATS the last 11 in Phoenix. Phoenix, however, just 2-9 ATS their last 11. I do like what they have after they traded Kevin Durant. I think the Suns actually are going to get better. Phoenix 1-9 straight up their last 10. The under between these 2 teams has cashed 6 of the last 9. Again, Sacramento Kings plus 4.5 would for sure be my lean here. Last game of the night, Minnesota Timberwolves facing the Portland Trailblazers. T-Wolves laying 4.5. You're over under 220.5. 74% of tickets, 72% of the handle to the over. 26% of tickets, 38% of the handle to the under. T-Wolves claiming 82% of tickets, 90% of the handle, and 18% of tickets, 10% of handle going to the Portland Trailblazers in this one. Minnesota finished the year 1-4 ATS, both straight up and on the road. Portland finished last year 5-2 ATS over their last 7. More importantly, Portland's been a really tough place to play, believe it or not. 14-6 ATS their last 20 games at home. Minnesota, though, against Portland, 6-2 straight up the last 8. I thought about actually biting and taking Portland here plus the 4, but I scratched that off my list. If I was going to take one of these 2 dogs in the late window, I would take the Sacramento Kings. Again, if that goes to 5, might be something I fire on. Let's recap some of the plays that we got going on here that we like today. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers on the money line, minus 125 for a single unit. We have the parlay with the Charlotte Hornets money line, along with the Charlotte Hornets money line, along with the Milwaukee Bucks money line, minus $1.21. We put that in pocket there. We also looked and took the Charlotte Hornets with the Boston Celtics plus $1.42 in a money line parlay. I have leans on two dogs, just didn't fire. Miami Heat plus 8.5, Toronto Raptors plus 6, and actually 3 dogs, and the Sacramento Kings plus 4.5. Those 3 dogs I almost fired on. I'm leaning that way. We'll see how the day goes. If the line moves in the direction I want it to, I may fire on those. The Utah Jazz plus 10.5, took that for a half unit. And then we had a full unit on the Dallas Mavericks money line, minus $1.46 for the evening. Again, click that like, hit subscribe. Always look to your alt player props, alt point totals, alt rebound totals. Put you a little 3 to 4 team. Don't be trying these 20 team parlays trying to get this big plus money. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. Have more money today than you started with yesterday, you won. So you just want to grind it out. You can get a good alt total parlay for like plus $1.20. Hit it, move on, keep rolling it. All right. Again, click that like, hit subscribe. God bless and happy handy.